Today we're going to explore the Python shell. It's a really great utility that's available, and it's something that you can use to test out Python, but also probably even more relevant to our Chapter 4 topic, and that is explore models. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create an outer folder, and I'm going to follow the convention that your book uses. So I'm going to call this company_project. And this is just let's say our website for our entire company. I'm going to open up a integrated terminal by right-clicking and saying integrated terminal. And what we're going to do now is we're going to construct our Django project. So we're going to say Django start project, and we're going to call this company. All right. And what this will do is it will create, whoops, that's not the right command. Let me get it right. Django admin start project company. There we go. Now this creates our actual website folder. To conform to the how your book does it, we're going to rename this company_root. Now, I know this is confusing, and this is one of the things that you just have to get used to with Django, and that is that the company_project is the outer folder. Company_root is going to contain the entire website for our company, and this company is technically our application. It is the default application, and you can think of it as being kind of the controller for our entire website. Now, we're going to want to create a database. And to do that, the databases are typically stored inside of an application. Now, we could create a database inside company. We could do that. But because we're going to be dealing with an employee database, a table, let's create an application that's specific for human resources. So I'm going to go into, if I do ls here, you'll see that I'm currently outside of the root. So let's go into the root directory by saying cd, and I'm going to say company root. And now I am inside the root directory. I can create an application now inside the root directory, which is where it should be, by saying python manage.py start app, and let's call this HR. Think of it this way. This is the company root is our entire website for our entire company. We're going to create a specific application inside that for human resources. And if you do that, you'll notice now that HR is there, and inside the HR folder is models.py. Models.py will be the schema for our HR application. Now I'm going to close this out just a little bit for a second. I have already created this in a different project, and so that you don't have to watch me type, I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste this into our new HR app. And you can pause the video now, and I will walk you through this. If you remember from the first video when I walked through models.py, employee will end up being a table in our database. Last name will end up being a column. First name will also end up being a column. And even though it isn't listed here, if you watch the first video, you know that Django will automatically create an ID file for us, which will be the primary key. I'm going to comment this out for now, but we will get back to this in a few minutes. So I'm going to save this. File, save all. And we now have, in effect, our database, at least the schema. However, let's explore this a little bit. If I say manage.py, the next step to commit the changes to the database is to do what's called make migrations. And if I run that, you'll see it says no changes detected. And I wanted to bring this up because it's likely you will make this mistake at some point. The problem is we have created an HR application, but unfortunately, we've not told Django that that application exists. We've created it inside of our default app or inside our project folder, the root folder, which is where it should be, but we have to tell Django that it exists. And the name of the application technically is in the apps folder inside human resources. If you go into the apps.py, you'll see that this is HR. So I'm going to copy this because this is how you have to refer to it in Django. So our HR config is the class. That's the name of our application. We tell Django about this application by going into the settings file. And the settings file is actually in company, inside our company folder. If you go there, you may have remembered this because we were fooling around with the templates down here a little while ago. in another video. But if you go into installed apps, you'll notice that Django does not know about our application. There is nothing in here about our HR application. The way we tell Django that is we refer to it using dot notation. Dot notation is similar to navigating folders on the command line, except we use dots. So since we are currently in settings.py, you'll notice that the settings.py file is here, and at the same level is the HR folder. So settings.py and HR is at the same level. So we can tell it to go inside that folder by saying HR dot. Inside HR is the folder called apps.py, which, if you remember, that's what contained actually the name of our application. So we can say apps. We don't have to refer to the py, just the apps. And then we can now paste in the name of our configuration file, and it will now link in effect, hook in the application into our project. So if I say File, Save All, I go back here now and I run the migrations again, you'll notice it's generated a migrations file. Now this is really interesting, and I want to point this out because you'll notice it tells you where the migrations file is. It's called 0001 initial. If I open this up and look at it, you'll see that this is the class that was generated for you to generate the name of the table along with the fields that are going to be created. So this file is generated by Django for you to create the tables in the database, which I think is pretty cool. To execute that file, we go up here and we say, instead of saying make migrations, we say migrate. And that will do all kinds of stuff. Most of this is not relevant. This has to do with the authentication aspect and our admin and stuff that we won't even be using. We could have turned that off, but this will be. This table right here is what we really wanted to be generated. That's our HR table. Now that's been generated. If you have that finished, then you are largely set up for the first part of this project. We're going to continue on to the next part, which is going to be to use the shell, and I'll show you how to use it to do Python code, as well as to use it to understand how to do models and to manipulate models.